It's a good idea for a spiritual aspirant to take guidance from many teachers, many paths, or rather to be devoted to just one teacher, one path?
You see, we may learn through so many sources, but we can't call that process of learning as a true connection between a teacher and an adult, or a guru and a disciple, because a guru-disciple connection is very, very rare and very sacred. It can't be compared with just random teachers or random philosophers or healers we may come across. So it is possible to learn from whoever, from a donkey on the street. It's possible to learn from an alcoholic or a homeless person, because you never know where you may receive wisdom or a word that may change your life. So life itself is a teacher. So when we speak about learning through different forms, reading different things, yes, it can expand our understanding of life. It can give us a lot of perspectives, and it may also confuse us greatly. And this confusion usually comes from the fact that we're not awakened to the root of our being. We're not connected with our higher being in a way that we should be. Because if we were connected with a higher being, or aligned with that higher awareness, the words may dilute here, we would be able to see through all these teachings, we would be able to take the essence, and the essence would always lead us to one and the same higher being that we're connected to. So we would be able to understand that all these limited forms of teachings and perspectives and philosophies emerged because of being disconnected from the higher source, of being aligned with that ultimate. And so because of that, there was ignorance, and people searched in the dark, and they've seen glimpses of truth. But they looked at one and the same thing from different angles and created different understandings of one and the same phenomenon, a different concept. But all these are limited forms of knowledge, limited pieces of information that have nothing to do with spiritual being. Spiritual being is beyond all that. Yes, it may look like spiritual being needs to be explained in this day and age, and some logic has to be applied, or some intellect or intellectual way of expression, yet the essence of true being has to be perceived beyond words and can be experienced beyond words. It can be invoked by true teachers. Now, true teachers are very, very rare too. So they don't need even to be called teachers, because their presence alone emanates and invokes that natural being. Because a true teacher is an emanation of the natural being, nothing else. It doesn't matter what they wear or how they act or how they appear or maybe perceived by people. The truth cannot be covered. The light cannot be covered or concealed. It will penetrate through. So a true guru is like that, like light that penetrates, like emanation that can't be hidden or concealed. And it touches others, whether they logically accept it or not, whether they deny it or not, it's there. It's like you can't deny the ultimate being. You can tag it, you can create concepts around it, you can philosophize it, you can call it God, you can call it names, you can give it whatever ideas, but it's always there. And so if it's experienced, you know. It's not experienced, you don't know. Once you are once you awakened and you restored that connection with a higher being, you can understand that all these different limited pieces of knowledge, they enrich your personality, but they have nothing to do with spirituality. They enrich your personality, they make you an interesting and an intelligent being. Perhaps you can share your knowledge, limited knowledge, with others and they will be impressed. But true spirituality starts with this awakening to this ultimate natural being, when the higher awareness is restored and one starts gradually realigning through this higher awareness. Realignment means one recognizes falsehood within and strips oneself of this whole falsehood, dissolves that falsehood within. And so once it's there, once the higher being is, once one is aware of the higher being, better said, one is able to recognize essence through all the teachings and spiritual philosophies or spiritual writings. One is able to perceive essence in others. One can see through falsehood in others. So one is not going to fall for teachers who represent intellectual, logical, limited knowledge. So one will realize that these are all limited representations of the higher being. And so with time and patience, one may come across a true teaching or a living form of the teaching, which is a true guru. And it may be that the way that guru appears or holds themselves has nothing to do with the traditional understanding of how a guru has to be or look like. So it will also break somehow or help them to break through the corruption and misunderstanding in life that comes through appearances and forms. So it is very rare that someone really, really came to that possibility to come across a true teacher or true living teacher, guru. Now, if they do, they have to be able to recognize it and also to be able to maintain that connection. And the only way to maintain that connection is self-refinement, honesty, sincerity, humility, and dedication. So obviously, it depends on what your soul wants to learn. If your soul wants to accumulate different forms of limited knowledge and pieces of information, then you can find it anywhere. If you're looking for true spiritual evolution, it's still very rare. It's a rare phenomenon in this day and age. So it doesn't just come because you want it. You have to emanate that. You have to have that, to emanate that frequency yourself, and to be able to maintain that frequency so that that frequency will allow you to receive a true teaching, a further advancement or be able to evolve further through the guidance of the living spiritual guru. But if you're pure enough, you might not even have a physical guru, but you may be connected with a higher being, that collective cluster of perfected pure consciousness that will start guiding you from within. So it's not always that you can learn from just a living guru, because there aren't so many living gurus. Actually, there are almost none, at least not known to the public eye. So now, if you're pure within and you emanate that high frequency of purity, you'll be able to receive guidance in a subtle way through transmission within yourself. So you'll be able to learn through that. So yes, we can learn through whatever, but what comes to spiritual advancement is a different thing, because we advance through the process of purging the corruption, falsehood through life. And it doesn't really matter which experiences we have, how this purgation happens. As long as it's happening, we evolve. But with the presence of the higher frequency consciousness in our lives, living consciousness, higher living consciousness, or because of our own effort and because of being awakened and reconnected to this higher frequency being, we can also advance in a different way, in a faster way, so the purgation would happen fast. But we have to have that capacity to accept that acceleration through the, again, experience, because this acceleration, this accelerated pace of purgation will still need to be felt in our physical body. So we have to be ready for that. And this is so-called a spiritual evolution process, or the process of self-refinement and transformation, in other words. And so it can only happen when we are connected with a higher intelligence, higher frequency, whether in the physical body or just through the subtle connection. So, but I hope I answered the question.